Anybody else? John, what's going up? So there's I guess a couple of just issues right off the top. In terms of the R3, they're not going to get the required setback, right? I mean, it's just not possible.
The only one I know of that they won't get is there is a requirement of 90 feet between buildings. Okay, so in other words, it's looked at between here and here.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I don't think that they're making that. I'm not going to tell you that they will be able to make that or not. That requirement is an old requirement, and both the building inspector and I don't mean to speak for him, but the conversations I've had with him so far, and we're looking into it, don't see where that came from or what the benefit is of it. I'm not sure that 90 feet reduces impacts associated with this type of plan. It may be between other buildings and a larger thing. We don't quite know yet, but that's the only one that I actually know of right now. I don't know that front side. There may be a setback issue with the side yard. Yeah. Right. So the major ones, the front and rear yards, they meet. There'd be a little bit of discrepancy in the side yard.
Yeah.
So.
The front, yeah, your side yard, you're half of what you need to be.
Yeah, on the south and on the north side.
Yeah, so right. So I guess what would be shown on that plan, the backs
of the units.
The units
right.
are half the distance that they otherwise should be, correct?
Right.
And then if you move them closer, then you obviously don't have the separation and you don't have the parking.
When you move them closer, it really doesn't work, and
Right.
the scheme B or whatever, whatever it's called, does not work. It doesn't work from a building code standpoint. You have to get people out of, have secondary exits and so on and so forth. So that one doesn't work. This plan, in terms of a multifamily on this piece of property, this works actually the best. This particular plan you're looking at now.
I think one thing we should have prefaced before we opened it up to the public for comment, but this board is here to consider the rezoning. We're not here to consider the site plan. The site plan would be considered by the planning board. The density of the site, the R3 zone, is between 9 and 12 units. The applicant is telling you that he wants 12 units. The planning board may not agree with that once they start looking at the layout of the land, whether it be environmental constraints or egress and access to the site. So the only thing the town board is considering right now is the rezoning of the property and the potential for 9 to 12 units, whether the site plan and the screening and the lighting and sidewalks on Lexington Avenue, all of those types of things will be included in the site plan when it comes in front of the planning board. I just want to make that clear, that don't think that we're approving something if we do the rezoning. We're just approving that site would be available for that additional density. That's the town board's role. Anything else?
Right. I just wanted to touch on the comprehensive plan from really a broad standpoint, because that's really how the plan is supposed to be used, from a kind of up at 10,000 feet. I appreciate a lot of the policies and the homework that everybody did, and a lot of the things that they come up with are very, very good points. There was one item that was brought up was that it recommended some upzoning around town. A lot of upzoning was done pursuant to the comprehensive plan, including a lot of the contiguous lands that are just north of here, including the school, the mosque, and some of the lands behind that, all the way to Route 6, all down in the Hunter Brook. There was a lot of rezonings that went on in town. I think what the plan actually says, rather than viewing individual policies or goals, what the plan says from a broad standpoint is that we're trying to preserve a lot of the character of the entire town. The town has some more densely populated and densely developed areas, such in the hamlet areas. It also has suburban areas and very rural type areas, and those are looked at to be preserved in their character. The neighborhoods, single-family neighborhoods, are looked at to be preserved in their character. But in the areas that are around the hamlets, it also says to look at different types of development and diverse housing, and this property actually fits into that. So while it will not, or any project will not fit exactly every policy or goal that's in the town, of course not, certainly I think that from a broad standpoint, this, I think, actually does, from that broad standpoint, so.
I'm going to be honest. I don't think it's necessarily a bad location. This type of use. I do have a concern as to the density and to the degree that we're rezoning it. We certainly obviously can put conditions on it so that it's the size of the units are what, about 1,200 square feet.
Two stories.
Yeah. So as far as I know, somebody had concern about the height. The height, there is a cap on the height. It's 2.5 stories or 35 feet. They couldn't go higher than that, period. Just so everybody understands that. I know you had concerns about drainage. They'd have to engineer the drainage so that there's no additional flow of water off the site, both pre and post construction. My understanding is it's basically it's a 1 acre lot now, right? It's got enough frontage. It's got 93 frontage. What's it got on frontage? The 1 acre lot with what, 193?
Yes.
What is the 1 acre lot for single family?
It's right. Well, right now it's almost subdividable.
Yeah.
It's a subdividable.
It's subdividable
lot,
property,
into almost as of right with maybe a minor variance, but it would be subdividable.
Minor variance that are not uncommon, right?
Listen. I think the neighborhood's concerns are certainly worthy of note. What's the courtyard have in Shrub Oak? What's the unit count in the courtyard?
It's more than this. I think it's 20 or something like that.
What about the one across from TD Bank and
That's 10 units. That's
similar
every
to
court,
this, right?
And you have next to that, going towards the east, you have a coach and 4.
Right.
On the other side of it, to the west, directly across from Lee Boulevard, is a single-family house